Putting up the green screen.
Left on Our Games. We started uploading our YouTube videos last week, so you can tell how far out we are. I think I mention this like every friggin' week. So I made this little guy, which is a phrenology head with like gaming things on it, and like it was just a prop for our community post, but I'm loving it. And we have human Carl. I mean,
I can't tell anymore.
Funny. This guy was sitting at the computer and I was like, let's play Resident Evil. And he didn't say anything. I was like, Carl, what the hell? And then I realized it was Bunny Carl.
Yeah, but I definitely don't say a lot when I lock in.
All right. So a lot of good things happening. We're really like getting the progressing. How are you feeling about everything?
I feel great with everything.
Yeah, it's really funny to be uploading YouTubes and like have the schedule coming out and all that stuff. It was really hard for us to like sit down and actually start editing the videos. So I'm really proud of us that we did that and they're actually coming out. We got our green screen. You can't tell because it's going to be something else.
So true.
I'm tempted to just make it the background from
just
before.
Leave it, just change the green. That's a good idea.
Okay. I did not show Carl. We've done a lot of work on the game. So we've put in some animation. I think we went over all this other stuff that we did last time. Yeah, we did, right? But the game's like coming together. We upgraded it. When we started, I made it a 1080p game. And I realized like we probably want to make the game in 4K and then let it be downsized. So I went through and I changed everything to 4K, which took a little bit of work to get everything working right. I rewrote some code to make sure it would work no matter what size the screen was and stuff like that. But that gave us the opportunity to have like a specific size for the sprite. And so I took the concept art from the ship that we did way back in the beginning, and I made it a sprite for the game. But I think it's good. I'm really proud of it.
You just hip shot it right out of nowhere, and it's great. Just show it to me. So I'm stuck looking at it. I keep looking at it. I'm like, I'll look at the camera, but like, I want to see the pretties.
Oh, yeah. So this is different concept art, but we'll put the ship up, and I think there's been a community post, so hopefully you've seen that, and it has fire. We put a rocket on it. I actually do have the pencils of the fire. I did barely any edits to them. And I just put them in and colored them. I kind of want them to look like
fire
pencil drawing on paper. That's sort of the aesthetic we're going for right now. We're going to try it out, see how it looks, make some changes based on what we like, what we don't like. But like I think we mentioned before, we kind of want to do some sort of mix between hand animation and stop motion. And Wallace and Gromit did something called Go Motion, which I learned about a couple of weeks ago. I watched a documentary. And what that is if you have a background that's supposed to be moving, you still take a single shot of the character, the thing you're animating, but you take it while it's moving so that you still have to go through and animate it piece by piece. So I'm learning different techniques for animating. I'm trying to expand my abilities in order to have a lot of tools at my disposal for when we start doing this. I did some practice rotoscoping, which is another great tool for animating. All right.
Yeah.
So let me show Carl some of our concept art that I worked on last night when I should have been sleeping. So this is an idea for an enemy I had. I thought maybe we'll use these for power-ups. I think that could be smart. This one is like a cage, so you can have something in there. And then this one, I thought it could be like this weird eye thing. So like this middle part, like would look around. And then I wanted to make it so like when it locked onto you, there was some sort of visual cue that it was getting ready to fire before it fired. I don't know. I'm always thinking about these kinds of things. You need sort of like a telegraph. If this is going to be a really powerful enemy, you need some sort of telegraph.
Yeah.
And like we said, we're going to need lots of these things because we're going to throw away 90% of them. So always good to come up with new ideas. You want to throw that on the pile of concept art. And then this was more practice because I just need to be able to do explosions and smoke and stuff like that.
Yeah, that cloud is really good.
Yeah, so I did some rubble. I figured we're going to need some rubble. I have some like I-beam, some rocky rubble. That's the concept art I worked on this week.
Do you want to talk about the difference between the 1080p and the 4K and how the thing was acting?
Yeah, so it was mostly just, and there's two different ways to make Godot user interfaces. One is you use, I can't remember what they're called, like canvas boxes, like kind of like divs. You have them nested inside of each other. Then the other way is you just put the individual objects up on the screen. And so we had to redo those to make them look right in 4K, which is fine because they will shrink naturally, but they wouldn't grow naturally. But the other thing was we had set up some margins to keep the ship in the viewport when you're moving it around, so you couldn't like accidentally go off the screen. And those margins were set for half of the ship's sprite size, but that was manually, we put that in. So we had to go back and change that. And eventually I will go in and I will make it so that is based on the actual sprite, and it'll just grab that from the actual sprite when the level starts. So we don't have to go in and do it manually for each ship or anything. It'll just be done automatically, and then we don't have to worry about it in the future. But at the time, I just made it so I could futz around with it and get it just right. And so that was broken. I fixed that. The way our game works, right, is the game moves, the screen and camera moves forward, and it brings the player with it. In a lot of old games, it actually worked the other way, where the player and the camera stayed in one place and the level and the enemies moved by it. But in Godot, it seems to work better this way. Yeah. And so one thing that we did was, in order to make it so that the camera would stop or the level would end or some other thing was triggered, I made these like blank areas that are just outside of the screen. And when something moves through them, it will trigger something. You can have the things that move through them off the top of the level, kind of like a tape reader. And so I think that's really interesting. It's so cool. A good solution for doing stuff like setting up timers and stuff like that.
And for like just level planning and everything. That's really exciting.
Yeah,
that's
and so
cool.
if the camera were to change direction, for instance, which we think we're going to do in some levels, this would be what triggered that. If you got to the boss, this would be what triggered that. Is we can just now, we have something that reads any trigger we put in front of it and does whatever that trigger says. So now we can put those triggers up and program them to do us anything we want, and it'll read it and trigger it. Yeah, so what are we working on today?
Today, I think we're doing more community. We're going to do the community post.
Oh, yeah. We're doing some social media outreach.
This was another thing. We had the green screen, which is up.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're going to do some more coding. And I'd also like to play a little video games.
I have not played a video game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so.
And I would love to. We have a couple of videos we're going to film, that shorts that we think are funny.
Oh, yeah.
That we think are funny.
Yeah, so we have the shorts, yeah.
So I want to scan in some of the concept art. I've not scanned in really any concept art. Throw some color on it, make it look more like actual concept art.
That sounds great. I think I say, let's get to it.
Yeah.
We're Left on Red Games. This is Kris. And this is Carl.
Bye.
Bye.
We weren't recording.
Shut.
I don't know. We're probably in line.